It was her voice, not the soft, playful tone she used with me, not the casual chatter I'd hear from the kitchen. This was colder, detached. I was walking past the half-open bedroom door when I heard it, low, deliberate words into her phone. "He's suffocating me, always asking where I am, wants to spend every weekend together. I can't breathe. He's so needy, so controlling." There was a pause. The faint sound of her sister's voice leaked through the speaker, too muffled to catch. "I know he means well," she said, "but it's exhausting. Sometimes I wish he'd just leave me alone." I stood there, silent. My heartbeat didn't quicken, my palms didn't sweat. I simply listened. Her words landed like quiet, precise cuts, small enough to not bleed instantly, deep enough to fester. She laughed then, soft and conspiratorial. That laugh stayed in my head long after she hung up. When she stepped out of the room and saw me standing in the hallway, I smiled. Not the kind I gave when I meant it. This one was controlled, empty. She smiled back, oblivious. That night at dinner, I asked how her day went. She shrugged, said fine, and changed the subject. It was routine. I'd ask, she'd deflect. But now I knew. It wasn't distraction, it was disinterest. I thought about every weekend I'd planned for us, the hikes, the quiet mornings, the late-night movies. I thought about the times she'd checked her phone while I spoke, as if my presence was a background noise. I'd mistaken her tolerance for affection. And still, I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I stored her words in my mind, the way you keep a poisonous insect in a jar. Not to kill it immediately, but to watch it move, to understand its patterns. I began noticing things, the longer showers when she got home, the sudden urge to run errands at 8 p.m., the way she guarded her phone like it was oxygen. Each observation was another small nail driven into the coffin of my old trust. I didn't stop caring, I stopped showing it. The next weekend, I didn't ask what she wanted to do. I didn't suggest anything. I simply left the house early. No note, no text. She didn't call to ask where I was. I stayed out until midnight. When I returned, she was scrolling on her phone, pretending not to notice the time. I began tracking patterns, not hers, but mine. How many times a day I texted her, how many questions I asked, how often I reached out first. Then I cut those numbers in half. Then in half again. At work, I stayed late. At home, I kept to myself. When she spoke, I listened politely, but without follow-up. I became a ghost in my own marriage, present but untouchable. I never stopped watching, though. Her social media habits shifted. She smiled more at her phone than she ever did at me. She started wearing perfume to buy groceries. So I looked deeper, quietly. Bank statements, location history, phone records. And then I found him. Not through his name, but through the hours-long calls to an unfamiliar number, through the late-night text timestamps, through the digital fingerprints people think they're clever enough to hide. It was Tuesday when I got confirmation, a simple background check on the number. His name, his address, a picture, smiling, ordinary, unremarkable. They always are. There was no dramatic collapse inside me, no shouting, no glass shattering, just stillness. That night, I set her plate on the table like I always did. We ate in silence. She avoided my eyes. When she reached for her phone afterward, I slid an envelope across the table. She froze, looked at me. I said nothing. She opened it. Inside, printouts of call logs, screenshots, and his picture. Her face went pale. Lips parted, but no words came. "I already know," I said quietly. She tried to speak, stammering out fragments, excuses, explanations. I didn't move. "I heard what you told your sister," I said, still calm, "about me being too clingy." Her eyes flickered, shock that I knew, guilt that I'd heard. "You wanted space," I continued, "so I gave it to you. I stopped asking, stopped caring, and look what filled it." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse. I simply laid it out like evidence in a trial. She reached across the table. I didn't take her hand. "You can have all the space you want now," I said, "every second of it." Then I stood, took my keys, and left her sitting there with the envelope, her phone buzzing on the table beside it. His name lit up the screen. She didn't answer. I didn't go home that night, or the next. When I finally did, it was only to pack. I moved through the house like a stranger, touching nothing more than I had to. She tried calling. I ignored them. Texts piled up, apologies, pleas, promises. But here's the thing about truth. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you know what's been growing in the dark, you stop wondering if it can be saved. You just burn it. I left the keys on the counter. As I walked out, I felt nothing. Not grief, not rage. Just quiet. She wanted freedom. I gave it to her, and I took mine with me. Final line. Love doesn't die with a scream. It starves in silence until there's nothing left to feed on.